Yo! Welcome back to a brand new Craftopia guide. In today's guide, we will be talking about 10 things that I wish I knew when I first started Craftopia. Now, as always, I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, please do drop a like and subscribe. Comment down below with any help that you may need in the game, or what's something that you wish you knew when you first started Craftopia. Help someone else out in the comments. But let's do this. So we will be going through 10 things that I wish I knew when I first started. Now, I've been playing for a little while, and along that time I've learned a lot of things. I've either learned it because there's no information on this game out there, so I've had to learn it to get that information across to you guys, or it's information that you guys have taught me from in the comments or in the live stream chat. So I thought, let's compile them, go through them, and see which ones may be able to help you guys out. Now, some of the stuff I'll mention in this video I have done full guides on. So in this video I will give you a brief description, and if I have a full guide available, the link will be down in the description below. But let's not delay this out anymore. Let's get into the 10 things I wish I knew when I first started Craftopia. So let's start off with Monolith. Now, this here is a monolith. What a monolith does is it allows your automations to keep running while you travel around the map. You have two different types of monoliths. The first is a standard sized artificial monolith, and the second is an artificial monolith 3x3. The only difference between these two monoliths is purely the size. So what we would do is we would build our automation. We would build it wherever we want, and we would place a monolith around it. So wherever we travel on that same biome, that automation will keep running. Currently, if you get too far away from things in the game, they stop running, such as conveyor belts will stop spinning, which means any automation you've got going will be at a halt. Well, if you place a monolith around it, no matter how far away you get, it will keep running. So if you place down a monolith and you interact with it, this will give you the boundaries to what will continue to run. So it's a chunk loader, essentially. What you're then going to do is build your automation with inside this square, and you can freely explore the map you are on. However, the moment you travel using your altar of transportation, the automations will still stop. There is no way to prevent that currently. However, with the plan of seamless map, that will no longer be a thing, so Monolith should be used to keep your automations running so long as you are logged into the game. Currently, with the travel system, it prevents those automations from running if you were to travel to a different map. However, if you are on PC, or perhaps even newer gen console, I'm not sure how it works with the new gen console, so you may want to test it, but if you head into your settings from your main menu, you will see there is a setting for physics simulation territory limit, and that is checked. That is the setting that stops your automations when you get too far away. Meaning, if we actually uncheck this setting, we no longer have a use for monoliths. We can travel as far as we like and our automations will continue to run. Of course, if we still travel using the altar of transportation, it will still be stopped. Again, however, when seamless drops, if you have this setting disabled, your automation should be running no matter what, and without the use of monoliths. However, if you are on a lower end PC or an older gen console, I absolutely recommend to just use monoliths, as that will disable everything else except what you need to run. Of course, with this setting, it means everything will continue to run. Up next, we have the picture book. Now, if you head into your inventory and go across the top to picture book, in the picture book, you will find a range of items that you must discover. You can then take those items, offer it into the picture book in exchange for stat boosts and XP boosts. You can select an item, go down the left hand side, and you will see exactly what that item offers if you were to offer a certain amount of them. And this is for every item in the game. It's for the swords, it's for the equipment, it's for the tools. And then if you head down to the bottom right hand corner and click details, you will see exactly what bonuses you are getting and where you are getting them from. Now, this is a great way to clear out unwanted loot, and you should absolutely be focusing your picture book with all unwanted loot. Selling swords and things is certainly not the best decision. You should absolutely be offering them to your picture book and making money elsewhere. This is also going to save you a bunch of time to prevent you having to keep making trips back with all that unwanted loot to be sold or stored. You can simply pick up an item, offer it straight to your picture book, and don't have to worry about it. Over time, the more dungeons you complete and the more items you offer, those stat boosts will really start to stack up. And to add to that point, you can also offer to your picture book using multi-select. If you were to head to the top left of your inventory and click multi-select, you can now select multiple items within your inventory and you can offer them straight to your picture book. The straw didn't go because I've already offered maximum amount of straw so that I could either store, sell, or just remove completely. But the other items I selected have gone straight to my picture book. I don't need to worry about them again. Now sure, right away this may seem like some kind of disregard for that item. However, you will be very surprised how fast this picture book starts to fill up, especially if you're just running dungeons. And just to add to that point, while you are in multi-select, you can also wash away enchantments. So if you select an item with an enchantment that you don't want on it, for example, this one has machine guns, I could just come over to this left-hand side, wash away enchantment, press remove enchantment, and boom, that enchantment is now gone. That is a hell of a lot easier than building a washing machine and putting the item in and waiting for the cycle to finish. Multi-select actually allows me to press as many items as I like, press the wash away enchantments, and they will all go instantly. No progression bar. Now this one is super important, and if you're a new player, you may not be aware of this, but it is completely game changing if you aren't. And that is enchantments. What an enchantment is essentially a buff or debuff effect to a resource. Let's take these logs here for example. These logs are just very basic. Here we have the same logs, but with a fire demon enchant, which means this log has a buff built into it that gives us plus 35 attack and plus 15% attack speed. But as you can see, it also gives us a debuff on our defense, magic attack, and max life. So you weigh up the pros and cons. Is this enchant worth it? And would you like it on a weapon or a tool? So as you can see here, I have this platinum axe. This platinum axe was made using fire demon logs, which made it a fire demon platinum axe. So the fire demon buff from the logs was carried over to the platinum axe. That is the very basics of an enchant. But why this is so important is simply for the gear that you are using. Let's take the Gambentine magic staff. This is a legendary staff and it has more magic attack damage than our princess staff here. So on paper, you put these two weapons next to each other, the Gambentine is better. However, the Gambentine isn't craftable. You can only get the Gambentine from merchants or from chests, so the enchants that you find on it are just what you are able to find, and they usually aren't too great. However, if we head into our skilled blacksmith, we will see here we have the princess staff and look at the resources it takes to craft it. This is giving you the opportunity to get some fantastic enchants, as you can get some amazing enchants on logs, bones, amber, and elemental dust. You can even get some good enchants on bargain armor parts. So if you were to take those resources that's used to craft the princess staff, find them all with good enchants, you have the chance to craft a princess staff and carry over 4 enchants. Like this princess staff here for example. So if we took a max refined Gambentine at a Chi plus 99 and a maxed refined princess staff at a Chi plus 99, the Gambentine's magic attack will be higher than 1447. However, it borderline stops there, minus maybe a small enchant. However, I have stacked this princess staff with 4 enchants, so you have to add all of these buffs on top of this number, which then makes it drastically higher than the Gambentine. So to summarize, craftable items are always better. Enchants are such a game changer, and there are some wild enchants out there, especially once the winter update drops on all platforms. So take that into consideration when putting your gear together. Look at the item it takes to make it. Do you have a better enchant or know where to get a better enchant from? If so, make it. It will really stack those numbers up when it comes to your damage output. And of course, the best place on the whole internet to go for any help you need with enchants or builds is of course the Caztecx Discord. The link will be down in the description below. Next, I have a tip that I learned from my live stream chat, and I also learned it way too late. And that is if we head into any dungeon of islands and take a look behind the portal, there is a hidden wall. We can actually destroy this wall, and inside we will get a chest. And that actually counts for the end of the dungeon as well. So before you exit, head behind the portal, destroy the fake wall, and you get another chest. This is actually a thing in all dungeon of islands and at the end of the trials. You won't find any at the start of the trials, in royal tombs or abandoned mines. But any regular dungeon of islands, as soon as you enter, check the wall behind you, and before you exit, check the wall at the end. I learned this way too late, and I've probably missed hundreds and hundreds of chests. But unfortunately, I can't remember who made me aware of this, but whoever it was, my picture book thanks you. Up next, we have NPC quests. Various NPCs can be found around the world of Craftopia in most biomes, and if you talk to them, they will ask you to deliver them an item in exchange for a reward. For example, here we have Blacksmith. If we talk to Blacksmith Fergus, he will actually ask us for 1 log. In exchange, he will give us 1 slate of growth. This is of course a very good trade, and you can find Blacksmith Ferguses all over. You can only use each Blacksmith Fergus once, but there's so many and you can just start another map if you want to do more. Now we also have NPCs such as the Researcher here. Now if we talk to the Researcher, again he will ask us to deliver an item. So if we deliver 1 flawless ancient document to the Researcher, he will give us 1 bone meal of enormous beast. This is again incredibly worth it. The flawless ancient documents have no use outside of being delivered, and if you wanted to farm some bone meal of enormous beasts, you were going to have to go fight things like dragons or bone dragons. So to be able to exchange such a basic item for an item that could be considered endgame, that's a very good trade. Now you can also get some very cool items from these NPC quests, such as Thor's hammer, a crossbow, and of course the blueprint for the multi-sling. These items are only obtainable from completing an NPC quest, and the NPC quests, they reset every hour, so be sure to come back every so often, check the NPCs to see what the rewards they offer. Some of the stuff you can get, including resources with great enchants, can actually be elite. Next, this one ties in a little bit with the picture book. Now this one is a little bit harder to explain because there's so many different variations out there. So I'm just going to do it very quickly, and that is get yourself a money farm. Do not bother selling loot, swords, resources, whatever you find while you're out and about. Just set up a very simple farm that's pure purpose is to make you money. You can do this with elephants, jack-o'-lanterns, fruit. You can basically do it with anything in the game. And that would be a passive money maker as opposed to you having to keep travel back to sell for a few 100,000. You could essentially make millions very fast and without having to do anything. So I have done a couple of guides for money farms, but very simply set something up to automatically die and for its loot to be automatically sold. Don't bother making trips back to sell stuff. Focus your picture book and make your money with a very simple farm. Now for our next one, this is something I haven't particularly spoke about on this channel, because I wasn't sure how I personally felt about it. Plus, as I mentioned before, I have advanced guides coming out. We had to get the basic guides out, now we have the advanced versions coming. And a key part of majority of those advanced builds is build merging. Build merging is taking 2 separate builds and combining them. Let's take this high-speed conveyor belt for example. Now I can go ahead and I can place other conveyor belts around it, but of course I can't place a conveyor belt where there already is a conveyor belt. Except I absolutely can. If I place it next to it like so, and then as I bring it to this side, you will see it snaps and it very faintly appears in the same place as the first conveyor belt. Meaning if I time my placement correctly, I could get 2 conveyor belts in the same floor space. Just like so. Now as you can see, there is double high-speed conveyor belt, and this can be done with some extremely cool builds, and I can't wait to share that with you in the advanced builds, but here's an example now. Let's take an auto cooker. Now if I wanted to place down a large capacity container, I would have to place it all the way out here, which means you have this big gap in the middle and it just takes up lots of space. It's very ugly. Well, if I use the same technique of clicking as I bring it over, I can actually merge these 2 machines. So if I bring it in and click like so, you will see we now have a lot tidier of a machine. Now, as you can imagine, I got extremely creative with this, and some of the builds I have coming are just ridiculous. Also, why settle for a standard conveyor belt at the start of your auto cooker? Why not make it a high-speed conveyor belt by simply putting a high-speed conveyor belt inside? That's right, we're basically upgrading the game's models. Next, we have Gacha Farming. You will find gacha coins while you're out and about, and you can throw them into a gacha machine to claim a gacha prism. You then throw a gacha prism for a random item. Well, if we face 2 gacha machines face to face like this, so the coin slot is facing each other, we can actually throw a coin straight through the middle and get 2 gacha prisms for 1 coin. It can be a little bit tricky to throw, but there we go. You throw it in, you get a double. Well, now with the introduction of a multi-sling, we can actually incorporate this into this build. which means if we place a gacha coin inside this multi-sling, it will automatically shoot and get us double the loot. Now, if you don't have a multi-sling, that's fine. As you've seen, you can still throw it in, but from time to time, you may miss, you may waste a coin, you may only get one gacha prism. It's still very good and still very useful, but ideally you want at least 2 for 1. I have, however, seen people build this with 3 gacha machines and get 3 capsules from it, but it takes a lot more testing to set it up. This is extremely easy. Just get the 2 coin slots to face each other, straight in the middle, boom. Now, when you throw out a gacha prism, now I am in creative, so I have infinite essentially, you will see it just drops a bunch of different resources. Now, some of these resources can have some absolutely crazy enchants on. Some of them not so good, but they're enchants that you can get on items that you wouldn't be able to get anywhere else in the world. For example, a legendary enchant on logs. It's unlikely, but you can actually farm gacha coins from merchants. So if you just farmed up thousands of gacha coins, put them all inside your multi-sling, have that shoot to get you double or more prisms per coin, you can actually automate this entire process. But my main point of this is gachas are extremely good for enchants, and you can get 2 prisms for 1 coin. So this is absolutely worth doing, and if you don't have the multi-sling, any coins you are currently getting, just save them up until you have the multi-sling and then set them up like this. At least then you're guaranteeing yourself double gacha prism per coin. Now next we have a very obvious one, and especially if you are subscribed to my channel, and that is automations. I really recommend getting into automations. It will make your life a lot easier. Now of course there are so many different automations, so I can't exactly show you one now, but just check out one of the many automations I have on my channel and save yourself a hell of a lot of time on farming those tedious resources. You can automate so many things in this game, from certain resources to money to refining weapons to the gacha farm as we just seen. You can even automate storage. So seriously, take a look at some of the items in the game. There's a lot of things like auto cookers, auto furnaces, fans and absorbers and droppers. All these things can make some crazy good automations. You just have to play around with them a little bit. So you could either head into a creative, or honestly just think of the resource you want, check my channel, I probably have an automation for it, and set up your first one if you haven't already. If you already have automation, consider taking the build that you've done for some of those automations and apply it to something else in the game. See what automations you can come up with. But this game relies heavily on automations. Sure, you can do things manually, but let's take the oil rig for example. It's an incredibly painful build. Well, you can make that a lot easier if you're farming stuff that maybe you can't do with an automation, while your automations are handling other resources that can be automated. And it even goes back to my point about the picture book. Don't sell swords and stuff, offer those to your picture book and automate the process of making money. You will make a hell of a lot faster money if you do peaches, jack-o'-lanterns, elephants, something like that, as opposed to going to a dungeon, filling your inventory, traveling back to sell the swords. So money farms does kind of tie in with this, but money farms is a point of its own. Merchants are so useful in this game that you will probably forever need a money farm. However, other automations can help you with things like traveling around the altar of transportation, farming some tedious resources, and even gathering you good enchants from resources that can be automated. But if you're a regular on this channel, you'll know about automations. It's pretty much all we do here, but I highly recommend learning some automations if you haven't already. And finally, one that I know many of you will find extremely useful, and that is being able to farm herbs and hell peppers. Now, the most annoying thing about herbs and hell peppers is the fact that we can't put them in a seed extractor to gather more seeds. So we have to go out to the world to find these annoying herbs that are just randomly placed around, or even go into hell to get the hell peppers, to then come back, grow some, run out of seeds, and have to keep repeating that process. However, not a lot of people are actually aware that if you have a planter, which is how you grow your herbs and your hell peppers, as you can see here, I've planted a hell pepper and it is fully grown. Well, as long as I don't destroy the plant pot and I simply farm these hell peppers, the hell peppers will actually just start regrowing. The seeds will stay in there forever. So if I go ahead and farm it, the hell peppers will fall, and as you can see, it just needs watering again. So I can set it up with a sprinkler, and there we go. They will just start growing again. I don't need more hell pepper seeds. When I first started, I stacked so many hell pepper seeds in preparation to grow them. I then planted it, grew my first lot, and realized that I had hundreds going to waste. Of course, you could then put a reaper or a sawbot to automatically cut them as well. Some way to then put them into automatic storage. And if you really wanted to, you could then put a craft connector onto that storage to a potion table to automatically create your potions. I have a full automated potion guide coming very, very soon, but don't worry so much about farming up those seeds. Once you have one, you can get your first batch going. If you want to make more, you're going to need to go find more seeds, but if you automate the process, you should be all good either way. And there we go, that is 10 things I really wish I knew when I first started playing Craftopia. Now I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do drop a like and subscribe. Comment down below with any help that you may need in the game, or what is something you wish you knew when you first started Craftopia. See if you can help someone else out in the comments. I just want to say I apologize for being a bit behind on comments recently. I've had a bit of a bug with my YouTube studio, but we are all good. I will continue to reply to them even if you no longer need that help. So I apologize if you don't, but I'm sure there was someone else who will read that comment and we'll still need the answer to that question. So I'm still going to go through and reply, but I apologize if I was unable to help all of you recently, but I'm getting back on top of my comments. We're all good to go. Remember to join our Discord. The links will be down in the description below. You can find many more tips and tricks like this in the Discord, especially when it comes to that enchant help. But most importantly, enjoy the rest of your day. Stay safe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace!